Alright, let's start this video off with the 88 Yamaha Terra Pro. I already started working on it and realized that I hadn't picked up the camera yet. There's the box of the eBay purchases. I got the clutch cable hooked up. Look at this, it's glorious. Oh yeah. I should have it adjusted right, and then I have the brakes hooked up. We are golden. I got them adjusted, just slight drag, just like you would do normal disc brake, drum brakes. Very, very slight shoe drag. I could go another turn. That should probably be about right. Yeah, so those are good. The lockout for reverse, this secondary cable here goes to here, which there should be a spring here that hooks onto the brake. That's why I couldn't get her into reverse. I got to push button the thingus, but it is locked. I'm going to pull this apart because I do have the detent ball, the check ball I brought with me. So it was totally worth, in my mind, every spent minute to get these cables running and working. There's the repaired one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, let's what should we do next? Oh, I think I'm going to work on the shifter thing here. I don't know that I have a spring for that. But let me look in my goofy hoard up here. You never know. Oh no. See? ADD. Whoo, squirrel. I'm going to brake clean the rear drums, or the rear brake assemblies. That rear drum's a little wet. And then let's put the rear drums back on. We can put some wheels on this thing. Things are in their usual chaos. Of course, so many interests I have. Not enough space to put them all. Oh, left the fan on last night. Good night, Nelly. Let's see. I'm gonna beat my phone. It's fine. Craigslist freebie. I think it was on medium. Maybe that's off. We'll see. Alrighty, we have to get back on this thing. It, if you see that rag in the way there. I'm not sure what I left off in my description of what's going on with this thing. Spent a couple hours on it the other day trying to loosen up the cable for the reverse lockout. There's a cable that hooks on the brake pedal. You got to smash the brake pedal. It goes into the high-low reverse. It's a detent, low, high, reverse. It keeps you from shifting into reverse when you're rolling forward. That cable is frozen, as is the diff lock cable. This is a differential lock, which works. I did get in here with a little penetrating oil, little tippy tap with a hammer. I was able to get the rear end to lock up and engage and disengage the positive traction. It actually doesn't even feel like positive traction. It feels like a straight axle. So I'm not sure if this has a limited slip in it yet. Without getting it on the road and actually putting it under some pressure, I couldn't break the loose. Skippy was holding one side, I was on the other side, and it wasn't. But we're not the torque of big wheels and engine. Sorry, it's early in the morning. I'm not quite awake yet, but it's a perfect day to do it. Perfect time to just get going. So anyway, so I had to pull the tank to get that cable out. For the reverse lockout, the cable is hanging on the bench here somewhere. I've been manipulating it, but it's really stuck and not cooperating. I don't quite have all my good tools up here that I do at home. So my thinking is I'm going to reassemble this whole thing. I'd like to bring this home with me because ultimately I'd like to mount this winch. I've got a Dayton right here, which is going to require some modification to be used. This is brand new, brand new. It was getting thrown away because it doesn't have a remote operation switch. All right, these old Daytons, it's old, it ain't new. The old Dayton, darn, has the switch here screws into the back, and you have to physically manipulate this switch to get it to work. And where they mount these on our work trucks, to move material. It's difficult for shorter people to get up here and do this, so they went with these ones with remote controls. So this guy was sitting on a shelf. It was a spare. It was in the dumpster, physically in the dumpster, and I'm like, oh no. So I picked this up a couple years ago, and haven't done anything with it yet, but it's going to go on the Terra Pro. That's for sure. So to fabricate that up, I'm going to do that at home. And then in my little box of goodies for the Terra Pro, I've got some hooks off of I think these came off of a Jeep. There's some cast iron hooks. I've got a heavy pulley that's rated for 400 kilograms, which is what, about a 880 pounds, right? 2.2 pounds per kilo, which will be okay. I was going to use it as a compound for this. I think it'll be fine. I have a fair lead around here somewhere. It's not a roller fair lead, so I may or may not use it. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, enough talking. Let me set the camera down. Let's get some work done. Okay, we're like 4 hours later into this, and we got sidetracked. A neighbor came up and saw the truck out, so we were visiting with him. We just spent a couple hours with him, walked over to his property and checked out some of his projects, and we didn't get anywhere on this. Half a day's gone and we haven't done anything else, but you know what, it's fine. The one thing that has happened to this is we lost spark. So Skippy's looking for a coil. He thinks there's an extra coil stashed up there. Not? Or I'm going to pull the coil maybe off the Honda, because I know that one works. We're getting a signal. I don't know if it's the right signal, but we're getting a signal, pulse signal to the coil. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll be right back. I don't know why it would lose spark. I'm confused. It ran perfectly when I left it here last time. I fired it up. I let the carb run out of fuel. And all the ignition kills, safety switches, seat switches, handlebar switch, that all kills the starter. It doesn't kill the ignition. So the ignition, something has pooped the bed. It turns over, but it doesn't spark. So no coils up there, Skip? All right, I'm going to pull the one off the Honda. We'll be right back. Well, there it is, boys. There's a sign of failure. There's no spark. I can't figure out why there's no spark. Did a hot swap of the coil with the Honda. The coil's good. I'm not getting any power to the CDI, and I'm not sure why. It ran perfectly. You saw in the last video. That was the last I ran it. I ran it dry out of the carb, shut it off, and now I have no spark. Nothing. That coil lit me up pretty good when we tested it. Yeah, so I'm not putting the plastic on it. I'm going to, I just put the bars on it because it gives us something to grab a hold of when we're loading it. But I'm going to throw this in the back of the Dodge. I'm taking all that plastic home with me. And we don't get any run time on this thing. It is what it is. It's what it'll be tomorrow. Let's go ahead and move the truck around to make the loading of this non-runner. Let's see if the Dodge will start. That's 45 degrees. It's a nice cool fall. There we go. Well, here it ends up. Coming back down into town, figure out why we don't have spark. Still don't quite understand why there's no power to the CDI. If there's a safety switch somewhere or something has physically pooped the bed. Like I said, the coil works. I'm not even sure how to test that CDI, which is a black box sitting just below the rack. Or did I somehow disconnect or activate a safety switch that's killed the spark? Got to take it home and do a little research. I'm also bringing home the snow plow. If I get this thing running, I should say when I get this thing running. I think I'm gonna make this a snowplow machine versus the Gilson. This is more agile. I can get more speed, and I think it'll just be a better plowing rig, I think. So I'm going to modify. If you remember, I built this snowplow 8 or 9 years ago out of an old water heater and some leftover steel laying around. The mount's underneath it down there. I'm going to modify it to this thing and raise and lower it with the winch as you would a typical plow on an ATV. Apparently I've used it so much. Look, man, I whacked something good on that corner. Woo! Anyhow, there it is. You'll see more of the Terra Pro, or you'll see it broken into 615 component parts and sold on eBay. We'll see. All right, gotta go, gotta run.